Suspicions remain about who's carried out a chemical attack in Syria, and the UN team is still probing the incident. However, the US Vice President accuses the Syrian government of using such weapons against its own people.
There is no doubt who is responsible for this heinous use of chemical weapons in Syria: the Syrian regime. For we know.
Well, Biden's remarks are part of a series of accusations American officials have made in recent days in order to lay out the ground for military intervention in Syria. The US Vice President added a fresh accusation saying the Syrian government is the only one with chemical weapons and that it has used them in the past. He said President Barack Obama has directed his national security team to be in close contact with its foreign counterparts. Biden said he and Obama believe that those behind the chemical attack should and must be held accountable. Washington and its allies have been pointing fingers at the Syrian government without presenting any proof for their allegations. For more on this, let's talk to Press TV's newsroom director, Hamid Modi. Mr. Modi, first of all, what do you think of Mr. Joe Biden's statements?
Well, Joe Biden says there is no doubt that the Syrian government used chemical weapons and that it will have to be held accountable. The British Prime Minister also says a chemical attack on civilians cannot go unpunished. Whoever that's used chemical weapons against women and children must be punished. There is no doubt about that. But who knows who exactly committed those crimes in Syria? How do they know that it was the government and not the insurgents in Syria who carried out those attacks? Why don't they wait for the UN fact-finding mission to declare the result of its underground findings? Something really doesn't add up over here. The Syrian government knows it very well that if it uses chemical weapons, it will be attacked by the US and its allies. So why would they want to be attacked? Who wants to be attacked? Isn't that ridiculous? And the second point I would like to mention here is that let's not forget that the same Western countries that condemn the use of chemical weapons today, they're the same countries that supplied Saddam Hussein with chemical weapons to be used against Iranians back in the late 80s during the Iran-Iraq war. Based on these latest remarks by Mr. Biden and by Mr. Cameron, those Western countries will also have to be held accountable for their role in Saddam Hussein's chemical weapons attacks against Iran.
And so all in all, do you think there will be a full-scale war in Syria?
Well, I think the Americans have learned a couple of lessons the hard way in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I don't think that they are going to enter into a full-scale war in Syria. What's happening in Syria today bears all the hallmarks of Israeli and Saudi false flag operations that are seemingly being used by the US and its allies to launch some sort of a cosmetic operation to try and take out Syria's top military installations in order to weaken the Syrian army and eventually pave the way for the victory of opposition militants and Takfiri terrorists.
All right, we'll leave it there for the timing. Many thanks to Hamid Modi, Press TV's newsroom director.